The words had barely left the hunter's lips.
She's dead, David.
Time fractured. David snapped in an instant. David's tentacles shuddered, limbs whipping violently, the storm eye at the center of his head spinning violently. Rage, grief, and panic fused into a hurricane, unlike anything the world had ever seen. The warehouse walls shook as he unleashed everything. Limbs tore through steel supports. Vines arced across the ceiling and the ground split beneath his feet. Every beam, every crate, every piece of debris was obliterated. The sound of roaring winds filled the air. He didn't see anything anymore. He didn't think. He lashed out, trying to mangle the person before him. For a fleeting heartbeat, he imagined Rain safe, floating in his arms, laughing after being wrung out of puddles. And then, a voice. Dad. A faint call. Through the chaos, he realized the truth. Rain was still in the building. The floor had collapsed in places, and rebar had pinned her body, skewering her through her stomach. Her eyes fluttered weakly, reaching for her father as dust and sparks flew around the warehouse. David froze for the briefest second. Then everything returned. Grief, desperation, all crashing down on him. Rainy and Rain always loved playing in the puddles. It was Rain's biology that made it funnier than it had any right to be. She soaked up half the downpour without even trying. By the time they all charged back inside, David would scoop Rain up and wring her out like a drenched towel. She'd squeal and laugh, water streaming down her arms and legs. Rainy would stand beside her with his arms up, demanding his turn. David always obliged. It became their ritual. Rainy days, muddy shoes, and two kids giggling as their father squeezed the storm out of them before letting them loose in the house. But now, Rain lay limp in his arms, her eyes fading, her breath shallow. David's mind went blank under the weight of fear. Logic and reasonable thinking, they all fled him. Only instinct remained, muscle memory. He squeezed, like he had 100 times after the puddles, like he always did before her feet touched the floorboards. For a heartbeat, he almost expected the familiar gush of water and her little laugh bubbling up afterward. But the droplets that pattered onto the ground were thick, dark, wrong. Not water. Blood. Dad, you look angry. Is it because of me? Sorry, Dad. Since the day she was born, Rainy had known Rain in a way that no one else could. He could feel every subtle shift in her moods, her heartbeat and will. Even from afar, he had always sensed these things deep within his soul, small changes that marked her growing, her learning, her well-being. He had grown used to the constant hum of their connection, the quiet reassurance that she was there, alive. Silence. After all those years, suddenly he felt nothing. The connection that had always been there, steady and reliable, was gone. This meant one thing. His little sister was dead. Without thinking, Rainey bolted from his classroom. Papers and chairs scattered in his wake as he ran. Each step pounding was a mixture of panic and adrenaline. He had to get her. He had to see. Rainey's footsteps pounded heavily against the concrete sidewalk, his heart hammering in his chest. He followed his senses that pointed towards an abandoned warehouse. By the time Rainey reached the warehouse, he stumbled over broken concrete and twisted metal, forcing himself deeper inside despite the dust and fractured beams. When he saw them, David hunched. Rain still, the red pulling beneath her. His legs nearly gave out. He couldn't speak, couldn't cry. He only moved closer.
What's that?
Close your eyes. Have no fear. The monster's gone. He's on the run, and your daddy's here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy.